get on for some reason, but I want to talk about this, okay? I think that Spurs fans are really moving the goalposts. And I know that some people might argue that, that's what I'm doing, but I'm going to go ahead and elaborate on what my goals are. All right? As a Spurs fan, as a person who has loved this team for quite some time now, for a person that even since freaking, what was it, beginning of high school, freshman year of high school, I went on the internet and wanted to talk about the Spurs. I went on Instagram and created a page and just kept talking about the Spurs like daily. Like I would go to school thinking about the Spurs. I would be in class thinking about what I'm going to post or what I want to talk about when it pertains to our Spurs. Okay, this is the time before Instagram had videos. It was a really bad time. Okay, it was a really trash time for Instagram. But that's besides the point. Okay, I love me some San Antonio Spurs. I am from Memphis, Tennessee, around no Spurs fans. Okay, so you know I'm a true Spurs fan because I was around none of them. I didn't grow up in San Antonio. I didn't grow up around the Spurs. I didn't grow up in Texas. No influence around me like the Spurs. Not my dad, no one. My barber liked the Spurs, but that had nothing to do with anything, right? So I genuinely became a Spurs fan. What's up, Cody? Buppet? Yeah, I hope you trolling. But here's my thing, okay? Here's my thing. Spurs fans, stop moving the goalposts. Now, when it pertains to me, when it comes to my goals for this team as a fan, what I want is to eventually win another championship. That's what I want. And that means any means necessary. And I understand that there's a lot of circumstances that kind of prevented us from getting to the point where we can win a championship. A lot of circumstances, okay? The main thing we all know is the Kawhi situation. We were this close, and people forget about that. And I'm not one of those people that say, well, back in the day, but no, this is literally just a few years ago, okay? That we were in the Western Conference Finals, and we could have won the we could have got to the championship if it weren't for the Kawhi injury. Not only that, then Kawhi did what he did, and we know what happened after that. So I understand that we're going to be behind. Okay, I understand it's going to be tough to make the playoffs. I understand that people have their gripes with Pop, a few gripes with Pop when it comes to, decision making. But Popovich has always been slightly controversial with some of his decision making. Always. But that's also what makes him great. But that's besides the point. What my goal is to win a championship. What is this mindset that I'm starting to see from Spurs fans where our whole mindset is not even on the fact of what we're going to do in the future to get to another championship, but it's more so stuck on, I wish we had another coach so we could be in the playoffs. Okay? What coach? See, this is where I'm like, you guys are moving the goalposts. What coach can you think of, okay, in the history of the NBA, in the history of anything that's professional sports, what coach can you think of that has won a championship without two superstars? Now, one, but let's just say two, at least two superstars. Now, if we're talking, maybe in the 60s something, you can bring something up, maybe from the 1960s, I don't know. But what team can you think of that has won in the modern NBA even, or modern NFL, or any circumstance like that, that has won a championship without at least a couple superstars? You said pretty much only the Pistons? Who was on that Pistons team? Can you name me the starting five of that Pistons team? Go ahead. Like what championship team has won a championship without superstars? I mean, my point is, it's exactly. Jay, thank you, Jay. Well, Jay's giving me the names. I'm sorry, guys. Prince. Well, I won't say Prince was a superstar. He was a star. He was definitely a star. That was a nasty team, okay? When you saying Prince, Chauncey Billups, I think Chauncey Billups at that point in his career, I think that he was low-key superstar. And Ben Wallace was easy superstar. I mean, the point is these are heavy hitters, okay? This is a team that played very well together, was really good defensively. Yeah, Hamilton was nasty. So this is a team that's full of stars. Now when I say superstars, it's kind of stars, superstars, but I don't know. I would say maybe like 3 stars. Now I would say Wallace was a superstar. Like he was nasty, dog. I'm sorry, he was nasty. But that's besides the point. And Chauncey Billups is one of the most underrated point guards of all time, in my opinion. He's one of them. He was super underrated. And it's so weird because it's like he came and went, and then people didn't like talk about Chauncey Billups like that. Like they talk to him, when it comes to commentary because he gives really good commentary. But I don't know, that's really weird. But I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting off topic. My point is, you need a lot of stars. You need either a plethora of stars, or you need a key or two, at least two superstars, especially in the modern NBA. Even if you think about the San Antonio Spurs in 2014, I would argue that we had superstars on the team, but Manu was a little bit older, Tony was older, Timmy was older, but these guys were, stars, or at some point in their career, superstars. And then, not to mention Kawhi, it was a younger Kawhi, but he was an up and coming star. So we had a lot of talent. So my only point is, it takes a lot of stars to win a championship. And I feel like a lot of Spurs fans, as it stands right now, is pushing the goalposts to the point where you're getting pissed off at Popovich for the possibility that we might not make the playoffs because your main goal is to make the playoffs. I mean, because seriously, if this team was under any coach, let's just say, even if I entertain that, first off, I don't think another coach could do even what Popovich is doing with this team. But let's just entertain that. Let's say another coach comes in. I heard somebody say something like Quinn Snyder. If we had Quinn Snyder, we'll be great. It's like, okay, let's just say we had Quinn Snyder. You really think Quinn Snyder would win a championship with this team? What good would come from it? I can tell you plenty of good things that comes from the way Popovich does business. Plenty of things. Number one fact, Popovich plays his veterans. He treats his veterans well. And what comes from that is a lot of veterans want to come to San Antonio. We are not we are a small market team. Okay, we do not get a lot of big superstars to sign. LA was a very big outlier because he was from Texas. Okay, that was a big outlier that is not normal. And we were coming off of a championship. Not too long after coming off a championship, we got LA. So that's an outlier. Okay, that doesn't happen in San Antonio. It doesn't happen. It rarely happens ever. So he's an outlier. And most of the time when we're a pretty good team is because we can get veterans. So he does that other coaches wouldn't dare to do. A lot of coaches just kind of throw their vets away. They don't really treat them with the amount of respect or give them the amount of minutes that they might need to finish off their career strong. Or if they want to go sign with another team, that other teams will see value in them, and they appreciate that from the San Antonio Spurs. That's why they come to San Antonio. So that's one positive thing that Popovich does. Number two, he helps these young guys mature, and he helps them become better players in the future. That doesn't always benefit us. Now, sometimes that turns into a player, having his time with us, leaving and being successful somewhere else. I.e., Bertans or Corey Joseph, guys like that. Sometimes that happens. But in the large scheme of things, the big scheme of things, people respect the Spurs culture. So even the Spurs are so special because, and I'd say it's because of Popovich. And I know some people said that, I saw a comment yesterday that said Popovich didn't create Duncan. Popovich didn't create Robinson. I never once said that. I never said that Popovich had a big hand in creating this. You can't just mitigate Popovich just because he has superstars, because every single coach ever has superstars. But prime example. I personally think when Popovich leaves, we'll have to wait and see. But I think when Popovich leaves and he decides to retire, once again, I stick by this statement that he can retire whenever he wants, and I'm not going to kick this old man out the door. He can retire when he's 98. I do not care. I love me some Pop, and I'm going to respect Pop and for everything that he's done. But let's just say Popovich leaves. Becky becomes coach. I'm cool with that. I love me some Becky. The culture of the San Antonio Spurs is still going to be there. It's going to be a different framework. Things are going to be a little different, but the impact that Popovich had on this franchise, I believe, will still be there. That's not the case with a lot of other coaches, man. That's not the case. A lot of times these coaches leave and the team doesn't really have an identity, and it takes a long time for them to even have any type of culture, get their culture back. Look at the Lakers when Phil Jackson left, or even when Phil Jackson left the Chicago Bulls. They're nothing. They're nothing. He doesn't really create a culture there. Now, there's a lot of things that happen with the Chicago Bulls. I don't put it all on Phil, little Philly. But I'm just saying that, what Popovich, the impact that Popovich has on this franchise is very important. My point is, I do not want to move the goalpost to the point where I'm just satisfied that we made the playoffs. My main thing is, I know this isn't a mindset in life, but my main thing when it comes to the Spurs is, baby, all or nothing. Like, yes, I want us to make the playoffs. Do I believe we will? Yeah, sure. But that's not my main goal. Like, if the Spurs don't make the playoffs, I know that things are still in the works because Popovich is teaching these guys that they're becoming better players. They're becoming better young men, better human beings. And in the future, if they decide to stick with San Antonio, it's going to benefit us. Keldon is going to be a better player. Players don't get worse under Pop. Certain players go to certain franchises and they become worse. But that doesn't happen with the Spurs. And a prime reason for that is Popovich. So if Popovich decides to not play a guy, to give him a little kick, to give him a little, boost. Like for instance, okay? For instance, one thing that Popovich did that I thought was very controversial in Spurs Nation, and even now I think people will still say it was kind of controversial. But if you recall, when we got Lonnie Walker, Popovich did not play Lonnie at all. And then he set a bunch of players and basically had Lonnie Walker go against the Golden State Warriors. Okay? Head to head. And he looked like trash. Now, a lot of people didn't like that. Me personally, I liked it. I mean, Lonnie Walker looked awful. And I think the reason why he did that is because he felt like Lonnie Walker was getting too ahead of himself, which he was. If you remember the interviews with Lonnie Walker, he even convinced us that, he's a superstar and this young kid's a superstar. And we see him play a minute and we were already jumping on the whole Lonnie Walker's great. Like we literally did that. We were like, yo, Lonnie Walker's awesome. And we never even seen the kid play. Now, Popovich exposed him, and he didn't do that just maliciously. I'm sure Pop was hoping that Lonnie Walker goes out there and do his thing. But with that being said, he still put him out there and he said, yo, you think you're great? Show me. Lonnie Walker didn't know what to do on defense. He didn't know what to do on offense. He was hesitating with his shots. He looked like trash. And now we see Lonnie Walker. He's improved much more. Okay, we will say that he improved much more. He's staying healthy for the most part, but we're seeing more and more Lonnie Walker plays where we're like, whoa, that's the Lonnie Walker that we want to see. Not to mention, during the summer league, I think it was last summer league, we all agreed that Lonnie Walker is steps above what he was when he first started. These are examples of Popovich making players better. Now, sometimes he can get ahead of himself. Sometimes Popovich can be stubborn. And it comes when you're great like that. It comes when you're a dude that has been doing it for so long. It comes with the territory. When you have a guy that's leading a big group of people. Okay, it happens. They're gonna have some type of stubbornness about them. They're gonna have some type of arrogance about them. They're gonna have some type of a chip on their shoulder. It happens. You don't think Tim Duncan was a little stubborn when he was a player? Tim Duncan was a jerk. Like, we love us some Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was a jerk. I mean, Popovich was the one that brought in Tony Parker, and Tim Duncan was the one that say, who is this? Or was that Manu? Actually, I think that was Manu. It was Manu. Guys, can you refresh my memory? I always get those two mixed up. I think it was Manu. It was Manu that Popovich brought in, and Tim Duncan was like, yo, who is this? So Tim Duncan was stubborn. Okay, Tim Duncan, in his head, he was like, I'm so great. I mean, who is this dude? So my point is, these guys are going to be stubborn. It's going to be things that we don't like. But at the end of the day, the only reason why we excused it for so long is because we had superstars. And that is not Popovich's fault that we don't have superstars. No coach ever has won championships without superstars. None. Never. Ever. Ever. And even though I say Popovich the GOAT, that doesn't mean that he can just do the impossible. It's not possible. No matter how hard Popovich coaches, no matter how brilliant his game plan is, it won't work if you don't have the superstars. So stop blaming Popovich for everything and stop moving the goalposts to the point where we're sitting here saying we're just satisfied for the playoffs. That I just wish I had another coach so we can make the playoffs. Popovich builds championships. He builds champions, dude. So just be calm. Just be calm. Relax. Just enjoy it the best you can, because these games are very frustrating and they drive me crazy. But just enjoy it the best you can, man. Just enjoy it the best you can. All right, let me see. I'm sure there's plenty of people going off, and I'm gonna let you guys have your say. I'm not gonna sit here and be a dictator of Spurs Nation here. Wait, who gave me a super chat? I didn't see that. Sean? Okay, thank you, Sean, for the super chat. I didn't even see it. I'm sorry, dude. I was driving. No championships built Pop. He's trolling. I don't even know if I should. What does that even mean? Yeah, hey, Sean. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, I have no idea what that means. The championship. I don't get what you. What? I don't. What? What are you talking about? That's like. That's just dumb. I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Yeah, I don't know. Popovich created champions. Are you saying champions built Pop? Like you're saying that Tim Duncan made Popovich? Oh, okay, that's what he's saying. Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili made Popovich? That's so dumb. That's so dumb, bro. That's so dumb. You think Tim Duncan would say that? Let me just ask you that. You think Tim Duncan would say? First off, Popovich, part of the reason that makes Popovich great is that he would say that he would give all his championships that he's won to Tim Duncan. Okay, he would say that. Now, there's many reasons why you're wrong in that regard to say that those, three guys, the big three, made Popovich. Somebody had to coach. And here's the thing. When you have Tim Duncan, who has an ego, all right, let's just be honest, he has an ego. That's similar to, well, I won't go there, but Tim Duncan has an ego. Manu Ginobili is a great player, phenomenal player. He has an ego. Tony Parker, phenomenal player. He has one of the biggest egos that we've had on the team. Okay, so we have players full of egos. Popovich would translate certain information through his players. So he would kind of push buttons here and there. He knows his personnel. He knows who to, get to say what, who to do, what he needs to do for the benefit of the team, right? That's what he would do. So in that regards, you got to have, if you're going to have superstars on your team, because a lot of people disagree with me with this, but I would regard, we all agree Tim Duncan is. I would say Manu Ginobili was a superstar. And I would say at some point in Tony Parker's career, he was a superstar as well. When you have guys that are that good, you got to have a coach that they respect, okay? You're not going to look, just like I said in NBA history, you're not going to find a coach with superstars or without superstars that won a championship. It's vice versa too. It's very rare that you're going to find bad coaches that have won championships. Now, you can kind of go back to, this is kind of an outlier in and of itself, but like, I don't think Tyronn Lue is a great coach, but he was a good coach for that time, for that season with the Cavaliers. But with Tyronn Lue, he was, a good coach, and he had a really good two superstars, okay? LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, really great superstars. But what I'm saying is, you're not going to find any coach that won multiple championships that was just riding off of the coattails of his superstars. It doesn't really happen like that. Like even Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick right now, he's struggling somewhat, but he still has quite a bit of success even when he has less talent. It just is what it is. So he's still a great coach. I would never sit back and say, oh, Tom Brady made Bill Belichick. I hate when people like Skip Bayless say things like that. It's just silly. He had to make those calls. There's so many things that goes into coaching other than just the X's and O's. It's your personality. It's how you handle adverse situations. It's how you communicate. It's how you teach. It's the certain matchups that you put out, on the court. There's a lot of things that go into coaching. So it's very messed up to even say that they created Popovich or whatever, because it really just a matter of Popovich not really having a superstar. Another prime example, Popovich made it to the Western Conference Finals without Tim Duncan, who was like obviously the biggest, star of the team, basically the heart of the team. He did that. So this whole notion that, Popovich was carried, that's just silly, bro. It's silly. It's silly. No one would say that. Like anyone that coached against Pop or anybody that's played under Pop wouldn't say that Popovich is overrated. Another prime example, can you think of one player other than Steven Jackson who goes off on everything and sensitive about everything? Can you mention one player that have came out of San Antonio and didn't have immense respect for Popovich? That's not a coincidence. That's a self-made man. That's not somebody who was just carried his whole career. That's silly. Not one player you can find that comes out and say that they didn't love them some Popovich or that Popovich didn't do certain. Like there's so many stories. I guarantee you when it's all said and done, we're gonna have so many stories about Popovich, things that Popovich has done. Even current day, DeMar DeRozan talks about certain strategies that Popovich uses. Like how Popovich, his whole ideology behind basketball, like his whole philosophy around basketball is crazy. Like he had them sit down and watch like a Penguin documentary on how they work together as a team. That's greatness right there. That's stuff that you don't get in other places. That's stuff that you don't get with other coaches, especially professional NBA coaches that's going to see it more so as a job. So X and O's are important, but it goes into a lot of other things as well. Prime example, Brad Stevens, right? He's considered a genius in basketball. His teams kind of fall apart. Like oftentimes they fall apart because maybe he just doesn't have those other assets that makes you a great coach. So it's just silly, bro. He's not carried. That's just silly. And that's what I'm assuming you were trying to say, that Popovich was carried. I'm sure that's what you were trying to get around, saying the champions made Pop. That in other words, he was just carried his whole career. I don't agree with that, and I think it's very fair weather right now for fans to do this to Popovich. It's lame, bro. It's lame because I guarantee you, no one was saying this in 2017, not even 2018. Nobody was saying this. It's a couple seasons of us having some mishaps, having some issues, and now it's all Popovich's fault. It's silly. It's silly. If you weren't saying this when we were winning, multiple championships, then bro, don't say it now. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it. Yes, stop that. Just stop that. Popovich is he's the GOAT, and I think it's disingenuous to throw that man under the bus. It's very disingenuous to act as if he didn't have any effect on Spurs history and it was all just Tim Duncan. Keep in mind that Tim Duncan wanted to leave at some point. He stayed, and he loved Popovich. Do you really think Tim Duncan, you could keep a player? Oh, there we go. What I was going to say was, do you really think you could keep a player for 20 plus years, or for 20, however many seasons Duncan was here? But you think you can keep a player for that long and they not love or adore the coach? That's silly. Popovich is not overrated. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get off. Let's see. Anything else that I need to address? Clan, we're not arguing that he's not a great coach, but why is he still playing Rudy and Patty? I think I answered that. Part of the reason why he takes care of the vets like that, and they do get playing time, not only to mentally prepare the young guys to say, hey, you gotta earn it, which, I mean, you can agree or disagree with that, but it's not only saying you gotta earn it. It's a little bit a dash of stubbornness, but it's telling the young guys you got to earn it, and it's a matter of getting the more veterans in the future. So when it's free agent time come around, and so overall you're going to be able to entice other vets, and it's not really that harmful, other than Spurs fans right now being upset that we can't make the playoffs to lose in the first round. I don't know. With me, I think we'll make the playoffs still. I'm going to believe in the Spurs to the last buzzer. But hey, that's just me, and that's fine. But that's not my main goal. I don't really care. I'm more of an all or nothing, and I want us to be built for championships. And I think that if anything, is building integrity with the team. Let's see. Kawhi left because of Uncle Dan. Oh my goodness. Why you think Kawhi left? That, bro, I'm not gonna go on a tangent about this. This is so silly, bro. It's so silly, bro. Yeah, Kawhi left because of Popovich, and then he went to the Toronto Raptors, won a championship, and he left there too. So I don't know your point. All right, I'm about to go ahead and get off, guys. I'll get with you later. Till next time, deuces.